Great. Let's begin. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Monday Night Moves. It's been a while because I've been on holiday and traveling and all sorts of shenanigans. But we are back, and I'm very bright and very white in this video. I'm sat in a different place. It's a bit more comfortable than my crappy chairs. Um, so I apologise if it sounds funny and it's all a bit weird, but I wanted comfort over good sounds. Very shiny forehead as well in this, so hi. Say hello to my shiny forehead. Hi, yes, so we are back. I have been on holiday. That was interesting, shall we say? You'll hear a little bit about it if you go listen to the podcast. But basically, I caught COVID. I'm not surprised. So I ended up missing half the holiday and spending it locked in an Airbnb room. But it is what it is. Can't change that. But what is happening now is that I am stupidly tired and worn out from it. And this was what 3 weeks ago now that I recovered, whatever. And so yeah, it's the effects are definitely lingering. You might be able to hear it in my voice. Yeah. Don't recommend it. It's not fun. But anyway, with that, this is probably not going to be the longest one of these. I ain't going to do it for an hour. But we are back. We are back in Dante's Inferno, not Inferno, Dante's Divine Comedy. If you saw the starting screen, we are in Purgatory. That is that starting screen is a fresco, and I've forgotten the name of the artist already. Let me just see if I can find out who the artist is. It's a big fresco on a wall somewhere of the entire Divine Comedy. But my computer is being incredibly slow, so I can't find the answer. It is by Domenico di Michelino, 1465 fresco. So, Domenico di Michelino. There you go. That's who it is. We'll have that as the image for Purgatory. It's quite a nice image. Colourful for once for me. Colour doesn't usually happen. I know there's colour on the screen and fire and stuff, but whatever. Anyway, so yes, we are going to start with Purgatory. This one is 33 cantos. It's 200, no, not 200, 103 pages. So a few pages shorter than Inferno or Hell or whatever you want to call it. Like 3-4 pages shorter, so not that much shorter. So I'm expecting this again to take about 6 to 8 episodes, probably 8 or a bit more, depending on how long I read for and whether I recover from this horrible grottiness. Or whether I get dengue fever, because that's apparently a thing that's going around at the moment. A couple of people at work have had dengue fever. So get the mosquito spray out and murder the bastards. Anyway, on with the show, shall we say. So sit back, grab yourself a drink. I've got this weird electrolyte thing here, and enjoy the tale. Purgatory, Canto 1. O'er better waves to speed her rapid course, the light bark of my genius lifts the sails. Well pleased to leave so cruel sea behind, and of that second region will I sing, in which the human spirit from sinful blot is purged, and for ascent to heaven prepares. Hear, O ye hallowed nine, for in your train I follow. Hear the dreaded strain revive, nor let Calliope refuse to sound a somewhat higher song of that loud tone, which when the wretched birds of chattering note had heard, they of forgiveness lost all hope. Sweet hue of eastern sapphire that was spread o'er the serene aspect of the pure air, high up as the first circle to mine eyes. Unwonted joy renewed soon as I scaped forth from the atmosphere of deadly gloom, that my eyes and bosom filled with grief. The radiant planet that to love invites made all the Orient laugh and veils beneath the Pisces light that in his escort came. To the right hand I turned and fixed my mind on the other pole attentive, when I saw four stars never seen before, save by the ken of our first parents. Heaven of their rays seemed joyous. O thou northern sight, bereft indeed, and widowed since of these deprived. As from this view I had desisted, straight turning a little towards the other pole, there from whence now the wane had disappeared, I saw an old man standing by my side, alone, so worthy of reverence in his look, that never from son to father more was owed. Low down his beard and mixed with hoary white descended, like his locks, which parting fell upon his breast in double fold. The beams of those four luminaries on his face so brightly shone, and with such radiance clear decked it, that I beheld him as the sun. Say, who are you, that stemming the blind stream? For from the eternal prison house have fled? He spoke and moved those venerable plumes. Who hath conducted, or with lantern sure light you emerging from depth of night, that makes the infernal valley an ever black? Are the firm statues of the dread abyss broken, or in high heaven new laws ordained, that thus condemned ye to my cave's approach? My guide, then laying hold on me by words and imitations given, what hand and head made my bent knees and eyes submissive pay, due reverence, then thus to him replied, not of myself I come, a dame from heaven descending has besought me in my charge to bring. But since thy will implies that more our true condition I unfold at large, mine is not to deny thee thy request. This mortal never hath seen the farthest gloom, but erring by his follow had approached so near that little space was left to turn. Then, as before I told, I was dispatched to work his rescue, and no way remains save this which I have taken. I have displayed before him all the regions of the bad, and purpose now those spirits to display, that under thy command are purged from sin. How I have brought him would belong to say. From high descends the virtue by those whose aid I to thy sight and hearing him have led. Now may our coming please thee. In the search of liberty he journeys, that how clear they know, who for her sake have life refused, thou knowest, to whom death for her was sweet in Utica, where thou didst leave these words, that in the last great day will shine so bright. For us the eternal edicts are moved. He breathes, and I am free of Minos's power, abiding in that circle where the eyes of thy chaste Marcia beam, who still in look praise thee, O hallowed spirit, to own her shine. Then by her love we implore thee, let us pass through those 7 regions, for which best thanks I for thy favour will to her return. If mention there below thou not disdain. Marcia, so pleasing in my sight was found. He then replied, he then to him rejoined, while I was there, that all she asked me I was fain to grant. Now that beyond the accursed stream she dwells, she may no longer move me by that law which was ordained to me when I issued thence. Not so, if dame from heaven, as thou sayest, moves and directs thee, then no flattery needs. Enough for me that in her name thou ask. Go therefore now, and with a slender reed see that thou duly gird him, and his face lathe, till all sordid stain thou wipe from thence. For not with eye by any cloud obscured would it be seemly before him to come, who stands the foremost minister in heaven, this islet all around, there far beneath, where the wave beats on the oozy bed, produces store of reeds. No other plant, covered with leaves or hardened in its stalk, their lives not bending to the water's sway. After this way return not, but the sun will show you that now rises where to take the mountain in its easiest ascent. He disappeared, and I myself upraised speechless, and to my guide retiring close, towards him turned mine eye. He thus began: My son, observant thou my steps pursue. We must retreat to rearward, for that way the champaign is to its low extreme declines. The dawn had chased the matin hour of prime, which death before it, so that from afar I spied the trembling of the ocean stream, which traversed the deserted plain, as one who wandered from this track thinks every step trodden in vain till he regained the path. When we had come where yet the tender dew strove with the sun, and in a place where fresh the wind breathed o'er it, while it slowly dried, both hands extended to the watery grass, my master placed in graceful act and kind, whence I of his intent before apprised, stretched out to him my cheeks suffused with tears. There to my visage he anew restored that hue which the dun shades of hell concealed. Then on the solitary shore arrived, that never sailing on its waters saw man, that could after measure back his course. He girt me in such manner as had pleased him who instructed. And oh, strange to tell, as he selected every humble plant, wherever one was plucked, another there resembling straightway in its place arose. Canto 2. Now had the sun to that horizon reached that covers with the most exalted point of its meridian circle Salem's wall, and night that opposite to him her orb. Sounds from the stream of Ganges issued forth, holding the scales that from her hands are dropped when she reigns highest, so that where I was, Aurora's white and vermilion tinctured cheek to orange turned as she in age increased. Meanwhile we lingered by the water's brink, like men who musing on their road in thought journey, or motionless the body rests, when lo, as near upon the hour of dawn, through the thick vapours Mars with fiery beam glares down in west over the ocean floor, so seemed what once again I hoped to view, a light so swift coming through the sea. No winged course might equal its career, from which when a space I had withdrawn thine eyes to make inquiry of my guide, again I looked and saw it grown in size and brightness, though on either side appeared something, but what I knew not of bright hue, and by degrees from underneath it came another. My preceptor silent yet stood, while the brightness that we first discerned opened the form of wings. Then, when he knew, the pilot cried aloud, Down! Down, bend low thy knees, behold God's angel, fold thy hands, now shalt thou see true ministers indeed. Lo, how all human means he sets at naught, so that nor oar he needs, nor other sail except his wings. Beneath such distant shores, lo, how straight up to heaven he holds them reared, winnowing the air with those eternal plumes, that not like mortal hairs fall off or change. As more and more toward us came, more bright appeared the bird of God, nor could the eye endure the splendour near. Mine bent down. He drove ashore in a small bark so swift and light, and in that its course no wave it drank. The heavenly steersman and the prow was seen, invisibly written, blessed in his looks. Within 100 spirits and more there sat, in ex situ Israel de Egypto. All with one voice together sang with what that remainder of that hymn is writ. Then soon as with the sign of Holy Cross he blessed them, they at once leaped out on land, as swiftly as he came returned. The crew there left appeared astounded with the place, gazing around as one who sees new sights. From every side the sun darted his beams, and with arrowy radiance from mid-heaven had chased the Capricorn. What, when that strange tribe lifting their eyes towards us, if ye know, declare what path will lead us to the mount? Them Virgil answered, Ye suppose perchance us well acquainted with this place, but here we, as yourselves, are strangers. Not long erst we came, before but ye little space, by other roads so rough and hard, that now the ascent will seem to us as play. The spirits whom from my breathing had perceived, I lived, grew pale with wonder, as the multitude flock round a herald, sent with olive branch to hear what news he brings, and in their haste tread one another down, even so at sight of me those happy spirits were fixed, each one forgetful of its errand to depart, where cleansed from sin it might be made all fair. Then one I saw darting before the rest with such fond adure to embrace me, I to do the like was moved. O shadows vain, except in outward semblance, thrice my hands I clasped behind it. They as oft returned empty into my breast again. Surprise I needs must think was painted in my looks, for that the shadow smiled and I backward drew. To follow it I hastened, but with voice of sweetness it enjoined me to desist. To talk with me, it would a little pause, it answered. Thee, as in my mortal frame I loved, so loosed forth if I love thee still, and therefore pause, but why walkest thou here? Not without purpose once more to return, thou findest me, my Cassilla, where I am journeying this way, I said. But how of thee hath so much time been lost? He answered straight, no outrage hath been done to me if he who, when, and whom he chooses takes me oft this passage hath denied, since of just will he makes. His will he makes. These 3 months past indeed, he who choose to enter, with free leave have taken, whence I wandering by the shore, where Tiber's wave grows salt, of him gained kind admittance at the river's mouth, toward which his wings are pointed, for there always throng all such as not to Acheron descend. Then I, if new laws have not quite destroyed memory and use of that sweet song of love, that while all my cares had power to assuage, please thee with it a little to console my spirit, that encumbered with its frame travelling so far of pain is overcome. Love that discourses in my thoughts, he then began in such soft accents, that within the sweetness thrills me yet. My gentle guide and all who came with him so well were pleased that seemed nought else might in their thoughts have room. Fast fixed in mute attention to his notes we stood, when lo, that old man venerable exclaiming, How is this, ye tardy spirits? What negligence detains you loitering here? Run to the mountain to cast off those scales that from your eyes the sight of God conceal. As a wild flock of pigeons to their food collected, blade or tears, without their pride accustomed and in still and quiet sort, if aught alarm them suddenly desert their meal, assailed by more important care. So I thought new coming troop beheld, the song deserting, hasten to the mountain side, as one who goes yet where he tends knows not, nor with less hurried step did we depart. Weird. Blueberry, blackberry, berry thing. UVA, uva. Canto 3. Them sudden flight had scattered over the plain to turn towards the mountain with a reason's voice. Drivers, I to my faithful company adhering left it not, for how of him deprived might I have sped, or who beside would o'er the mountain's tract have led my steps? He, with bitter pang of self-remorse, seemed smitten. O clear conscience and upright, how doth a little fling with thee score? Soon as his feet desisted, slackening pace, from haste that mars all decency of act, my mind, that in itself before was wrapt, its thoughts expanded, as with joy restored, all and full against the steep ascent I set my face, where highest to heaven its top overflows. The sun that flied behind with ruddy beam, before my form was broken, for in me his rays resistance met. I turned aside with fear of being left, when I beheld only before myself the ground obscured. When thus my solace turning him round, lost my round. When thus my solace turning him around, bespake me kindly, why distrustest thou? Believest not I am with thee, thy sure guide. It is now evening there, where buried lies the body in which I cast a shade, removed to Naples from Brunsidium's wall. Nor thou marvel if before me no shadow fall. More than that, in the sky element one ray obscures, not other. To endure torments of heat and cold extreme, like frames that virtue hath disposed, which how it works wills not to us should be revered. Insane who hopes our reason may that space explore, which hold three prisoners in one substance knit. Seek not with the wherefore, race of humankind, could ye have seen the whole, no need had been for Mary to bring forth. Moreover, ye have seen such men desiring fruitlessly, to whose desires repose would have given, that now but serve them from eternal grief. I speak of Plato and Stagirite and others many more. And then he bent downwards his forehead, in troubled mood broke off his speech. Meanwhile we had arrived far as the mountain's foot, and there the rock found so steep ascent, the nimblest steps to climb it had been vain. The most remote, most wild untrodden path in all the tract twixt Larace and Turbia were to his a ladder easy and open of access. Who knows on which hand now the steep declines? My master said and paused, so that he may ascend, who journeys without aid of wine. And while with looks directed to the ground, the meaning of the pathway he explored, and I gazed upward round the stony height of spirits that towards us moved their steps. Yet moving seemed not, they slow approached. I thus my guide addressed, apprise thine eyes. Lo, that way some of whom thou must obtain counsel, if of thyself thou foundest, if not. Straightway he looked, and with free speech replied, let us tend hither. They but softly come, and thou be firm in hope, my son beloved. Now was that people distant far in space 1,000 paces behind ours, as much as at a throw the nervous arm could fling, when all drew backward on the messy crags of the steep bank and firmly stood unmoved, as one who walks in doubt might stand to look. O spirits perfect, O already chosen, Virgil to them began, by the blessed peace which, as I deem, is for you all prepared, instruct us where the mountain low declines, so that attempt to mount it be not vain. For who knows most, him loss of time most grieves. As sheep that steep from forth their fold by one, or pairs, or three at once, meanwhile the rest stand fearfully, bending the eye and nose to ground. And what the foremost does, that do the others, gathering round her, if she stops, simple and quiet, nor the cause discern. So saw I moving to advance the first, who of that fortunate crew were at the head, of modest mien and graceful in their gait. When they before me and had beheld the light, from my right side fall broken on the ground, so that the shadow reached the cave. They stopped and somewhat back retired. The same did all who followed through unweeting of their cause. Unasked of you, yet freely I confess, it is a human body which ye see. That the sun's light is broken on the ground, marvel not, but believe that not without virtue derived from heaven, we to climb over this wall aspire. So then bespake my master, and that virtuous tribe rejoined, turn, and before you there the entrance lies, making a signal to us with bent hands. Then of them one began, whoever thou art who journeys thus this way, thy visage turn, think if me elsewhere thou hast ever seen. I towards him turned, and with fixed eye beheld, comely and fair and gentle of aspect, he seemed, but on one brow a gash was marked. When humbly I disclaimed to have beheld him ever, now behold, he said, and showed high on his breast a wound, then smiling spake, I am Manfredi, grandson of the Queen Constanza, whence I pray thee, when returned to my fair daughter go, the parent glad of Aragonia and Sicilia's pride, and of the truth inform her, if of me aught else be told. When by two mortal blows my frame was shattered, I betook myself weeping to him, who of free will forgives. My sins were horrible, but so wide arms hath goodness infinite, but it receives all who turn to it. Had this text divine been of Consenza's shepherd, better scanned, who then by Clement on my hunt was set, yet at the bridge's head my bones had lain, near Benevento, by the heavy mole protected, but the rain now drenches them, and the wind drives out of the kingdom's bounds, far from the stream of Ved, where with lights extinguished he removed them from their bed. Yet by their cause we are not so destroyed, but the eternal love may turn while hope retains her verdant blossoms. True it is that such one as the contumacy dies against the holy church, though he repent, must wonder 30-fold, for all the time in his presumptions past, if such decree be not by prayers of good men shorter made. Look therefore if thou canst advance my bliss, revealing to my good Constanza how thou hast beheld me, and beside the terms laid on me that interdict, for here by means of those below much profit comes. And we shall stop there today, because tired, and we'll be back next week with some more. So yeah, first 3 cantos. We'll try and do 5 next week, depending on how I feel. But yeah, so there we go. Can't really think of what I've just read. My brain is not functioning, so yeah. Purgatory, part of Catholic ideas. If you like Catholic ideas and how they cross over into weird other religions, my new podcast episode will be out hopefully this week, where I'm starting season 6 and we're looking at magic-y. We're looking at magic this season. So the first episode will be on the Queen of Voodoo, Marie Laveau. Sorry. So that one's it's a bit more of a historical dive into it, but there is a little bit of spookiness in there. So you should enjoy that. So yeah, this season of the podcast will be on historical figures. It'll be on gods and goddesses of magic. It'll give you a little bit of history into like folk magic and different types of magic, like ritual magic and animistic stuff and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, go check out the podcast. There might be a link in the description below. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. See if I remember. If not, it's the Drunken Storytellers podcast. Find it anywhere that you want. But all links for social medias and stuff down below. Go check out my artwork on Instagram and threads and things where I just doodle random crap, random spooky crap, and put it up there. I did a spider a few days ago. And then a spooky skull, which needed more bats apparently, according to everybody. So, yeah. Anyway, go check it all out, and we'll be back next week. And hopefully my brain will be less foggy, and I'll look less tired and less shiny foreheady. We'll see. But anyway, bye!